evening. How are we all this evening? Hi Susan, lovely to have you with us. So today we are going to be having fun. We are going to be playing with Vaseline and crayons nonetheless. So yeah, I'm hoping this is going to work. We are going to play with some resist techniques. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A little bit different. I am trying to be as creative as possible and make sure that we're doing slightly different things every week. Yeah, so without further ado, we should maybe get started. Hi. Now, I'm really sorry. This is this stupid system. Whoever's just said hi, it's showing up as the Facebook. It's showing up as Facebook user. And I am presuming that is because you're in the Crazy Craft Hive. For some reason, it doesn't translate into names. Hi, Alison. How are you? So lovely to have you all here. I'm sorry technology is just not working. Now we're going to do the weird light show thing because I've not yet managed to get this down to a fine art. But I will flip you round nonetheless. There we go. So, I am going to do a resist technique. So this is something that I've done before. This was a live that we had. Hi Dominique, how are you? This is a live that I did ages ago, and we've created this sort of peeled paint look using the resist technique with the Vaseline. So I am wanting to do something similar in a journal page, which I will just show you. So this is my Jane Davenport journal, and so far I've not really, maybe we should change the view a little bit. You're a bit, there we go. That's me working on another project there. We'll just pop that to the side, pretend we can't see it. There we go. Hello, how are you? So this is a Jane Davenport journal. So far I've mostly used it for swatching. So yeah, we've not done a huge amount of crafting in it. And then mop-up pages. Hi Dominique and Christine, how are you? So yeah, there's a lot of mop-up pages in here. In fact, this one's stuck together. Yeah, so I thought that this particular mop-up page here, if that was sat just there, it would almost look like, bear with me, Northern Lights in the background and an iceberg at the front. That's kind of what I was seeing. Hi Sharon, what time is it where you are, Sharon? I know you normally catch the replays. Well done. Hi Elaine, how are you? So I'm going to start off doing the background first, and then we will colour these little kitties in. I've already fussy cut it just for, you know, to try and make sure that we have enough time to do everything. So basically, when we paint this with gesso or white paint, I'm going to start with gesso and see how we get on. And if it's not strong enough, then we will move on to white acrylic paint. It will resist where the Vaseline or petroleum jelly is. So if we kind of look at everything, this green is a little bit more Northern Lights. I'm not particularly liking this purple. I think 6:30. Oh my word, Sharon, that's very early. That's dedication for you. I'm not sure I'd be up at 6:30 for anyone. So these green bits I definitely want to keep. Only a tiny bit of that pink, I think, not a lot. And a little bit of the purple might be quite nice. And to be honest, I will probably mat out most of the bottom of that, and we will see how we get on. So, as I said, we cover the bits we want to keep, essentially. So I'm going to keep, but at the same time I want there to be some elements of randomness. So I'm going to definitely make sure that we have some blue. And I need to make sure that we go to the top of the page as well. The minute you're not seeing anything overly exciting, I am sorry. Now that's obviously got some sort of gel medium stuff. Hello Julie, how are you? Lovely to have you with us. Right, so we will put that on there. And what do we think? How much of this pink or purple? I'm going to put a tiny bit of this, just this pink, and then I'll maybe do little streaks of it. I don't really want a lot of it, I don't think. And then we'll cover some of this, and maybe we'll just do a little bit here. I'm trying to tell, we get to this stage now because I can't particularly see. Hi, Wendy. So what time is it in Spain? We're just doing a bit of a time clock check, I think, tonight. It's 6:30 with Sharon. Where is it? Where you? What is it? Where yours? It's an hour's difference, Wendy. Right. So we're going to put a bit of this over here. I can always map more out. I can't kind of get it back if once I've covered it, it's covered. But I can sort of block more out if I've saved too much, if that makes sense. Right. So we will try and call that a day, I think. I will probably be covering most of this, so I might just do a tiny little bit on the horizon line almost. And then I think maybe a little bit here, because we'll probably build this up after. Okay. There you go. Very glad you tuned in. Doesn't that look amazing? Hi Leah, hi Rianne, how are you? Lovely to see everybody tonight. So lovely to have your company. Right, so now I'm going to grab some white gesso. See, I think I'm organised, and then all of a sudden transparent gesso. Black gesso. Where's the one I actually want? White gesso. Honestly. What has everybody been up to today? Have you been doing anything nice? Right, so I am going to get a big brush, because the bigger the brush, the faster we cover it. I remember watching a live with Dina Wakely when she did one in Crafty with All Brands, and she used this massive brush, and it was amazing how quickly she did her page. And then it's like, why have I been faffing for years with a tiny brush? So we're going to just cover all of this. You can almost see, like, just there, it's, well, maybe you can't, sorry, I can. Just pulling ever so slightly there, and that's because it is resisting the Vaseline. But we will wipe it off as well once it has had a chance to dry. So I am just going to do this. There we go, cover it all white. You've had a day of work, Sue, and you've been washing the house and keeping colouring. Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of house. Monday I tend to do a bit more houseworky stuff, I have to say. But I kind of messed up my, well, not messed up my days, but I've got to wait in tomorrow because we had the brand sale shop on Create and Craft. I've got an every pickup tomorrow, and because hubby has not yet installed the Ring doorbell so that I can tell when someone's at the door when I'm down here, I'm going to have to wait up at the house tomorrow. And I kind of need to be in the studio because I've got lots of videoing to do, but never mind. We'll manage. Right, so I'm just covering all of that in white. And then I'm actually just going to take it this way at the bottom, because obviously the iceberg will be going in a different direction. So you can kind of see it's naturally resisting some of the places anyway. Some of the other bits we're maybe going to have to work a little bit harder to get our resist. But we'll just pop it there. And it'll probably work better if it dries naturally. So I'm just going to, we will encourage it with a heat gun in just a moment, but we will just leave that as is for just now. And I am going to move on to colouring these little guys. So I'm going to colour them with crayons. Let's bring you a bit closer again. There we go. So I'm going to colour these little guys. Yes, Vaseline will resist most things. Well, I hope it resists gesso. We'll soon find out. It should do, because it's got a kind of waxy base. Right, sorry, just walking across the studio here because I suddenly realised I forgot something. So I'm going to be colouring in using these crayons. I picked these up at Hobbycraft. So they're very inexpensive. I think they were about £2. But what I did do was, if you join Hobbycraft, this is in the UK, if you join their app, you get a £5 voucher. So I bought 2 packets, this one and skin coloured ones, and it cost me like 80p because I used the voucher. So that was all good. Right, so what I'm going to do is, let's get some colour on the accessories, and then I'm going to do a little bit of shading. and we'll see how we get on. So I'm just gonna, let me see, am I better putting it at this angle? Let's have a little look. There we go. Right, so no, I'm not doing the hat. I'm just gonna colour this a little bit. Now in my head, oh, that's not showing up very well. Maybe we need a darker colour. It's showing up beautifully for me, but we're not seeing much on the page. Let's see if I can get a darker colour so you can actually see what I'm doing. So that probably would be very helpful. I'd buy those just because they look pretty. Yep, absolutely. Right, so unfortunately, despite the fact this having quite a bit of colour on it, it's not overly showing up. Now I have a plan. Not quite sure. I bought these to do a video because I'm reckoning I could colour. I mean, I know you can colour in using crayons, but I reckon we could do some professional style colouring with crayons, if the idea in my head works. Which is always debatable. So we're going to put that theory to the test live. Why not? Why not? Right, let's see. Will the green show up better? Oh yeah, the green's showing up better. I'll just change. So I am going to colour over what I just did a little bit. And then bring it forward. And then I'm going to try my experiment as to why I think this is going to work. Okay, so we've got green and blue here. We are getting a little bit of a blend, which is what I'm wanting. What other colours do we have? Do we have a yellow? Oh dear, look, I broke one of my, I broke one of my crayons. I did drop the box earlier, so that probably didn't help. Right, do I have a nice yellow? Are they all orangey yellows? No, they're all a bit orangey. I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to risk it. Right, so I'm thinking, this is wax. So if it's wax, it should melt. That's the plan. And if it melts, I bet you're all glad that I actually practiced this before. If it melts, then we should be able to get it to blend, which is what I'm thinking. So, heat gun, and I'm just going to turn that on. And then hopefully I can just heat that slightly. That's, yeah, it's doing something. And we will get the two colours to blend together. Okay, so that's his little hat. It's not bad, considering it's children's crayons. It's not bad. Right, so I'm going to do his scarf, similar colours, but let's go for two greens because that grey didn't work overly well. We could possibly even bring some of this darker green up here. Right, so I'm going to do the same. I don't know why the dark colours don't show up overly well on the camera. Right, so we're going to pop this here. Like so. A little bit in here as well. Okay, dokie. And then let's grab this bright, vibrant green. Oh, let's get you actually on the camera. That would help, wouldn't it? Right, so I'll put that here. Like so. Now I'm also working on the Dolly Dimples mixed media card. So although it's crayons, and yes, I will grant you I don't have much experience in colouring with crayons, this is a new sort of experimentation that we are going for right now. but it is something that I'm planning on doing. As I say, I'm planning on mastering how to colour with crayons. But it's a similar principle to when you use pencils. You wouldn't want to do this on the smooth card because you need to fill the tooth. To be honest, I'm probably going a bit too hard, a bit too quickly as well. You probably would be better just really lightly building up the layers. So it is something I am going to fiddle with. But I think building up the layers really slowly on a live just could take forever. So we're just going to embrace, sometimes with regards to our artwork and stuff, we just need to embrace imperfection. Sometimes we're just too concerned with making it perfect, and it isn't. You've got to make mistakes, you've got to make imperfect art in order to make better art. So never be afraid to experiment, to make mistakes. So what craft projects are you all working on just now? Would love to know. So that's it's got the accessories done. We'll give this little dude some coloured accessories as well. What should we go for? I'm thinking kind of purples, because we've got the purples, and it's good just to play sometimes. Absolutely, Wendy, I think it is really good to experiment. I have learned that this year. I'm going to be making a video about this a bit later. I've been reading a book called The Artist's Way, which is good, but also I've come to a few realizations on my own over the year that I used to kind of be a lot more experimental, but now because this has kind of become my job and things like that, I kind of stick to what I know. And in doing so, I don't think I've grown creatively until these past few months, where I've just been sort of pushing myself a little bit to try new things. And I definitely think it's really good for everybody just to sort of, yeah, keep experimenting, keep playing. It's how you grow and how you develop. And I have to say, colouring with crayons isn't really something I've ever really done before. You're knitting a dragon for your grandson. Oh, that sounds ace. It's ages since I've done knitting. Right, so I have to say, this technique, now that's not showing up in the camera at all. I wonder if I change the lighting to it. See, look, it looks brighter on this one. Let's stick to this one. Right. Light is a funny thing. Right, so I'm just heating this. So I'm actually going to take my hand out of the way and heat it for a little bit, because it is getting a little bit hot under that heat gun, I'm not going to lie. So we'll heat it and then I'll stick my hand in. You've got everything set up to try a wildflower and mask. Ooh! You're doing gorgeous things with your abstract art and your watercolours. I've just bought a load of watercolour stuff. Hello, Kate! What did you have for tea? I hope it was yummy. Right, I'm just going to get right in this and heat it up first and then get my fingers in, because I'm burning my fingers, quite frankly. Wendy's making Christmas cards and trying to finish a crochet bag you've been making for 6 years. That is so me. I started, because I used to make everybody... Why is it not melting this one? I used to make everybody a cross stitch picture when they had a baby, and then when I was pregnant with Kezia, I was going to make her it was like a princess castle cross stitch, and that I've never finished that. She's now 11. A sausage, tatties and baked beans, that is nothing wrong with that. I had leftover curry, and it was a leftover bot curry at that. For some reason, I do not know why, but for some reason those ones are not wanting to melt. Those ones over there did. But I'm not going to keep battling with it. Right, now we're just going to do a little bit of subtle shading. You can't see any comments. Yeah, probably best logging out and logging in. This one here is blended really well because it melted. And for some reason, this one, maybe it's because I've managed to warp my desk. Right, I'm going to try colouring it a bit. We're problem solving here together. I'm actually just going to go a bit more heavy-handed and see if maybe I was going a bit too delicately. Maybe I need more wax. in order for it to melt. Trying to lift it because I am completely warping my I've got like mount board down to see what I'm doing. Sorry, I have mount board down on my desk so that you've got a nice white surface, but it is warping with the heat gun. Right, a little bit. This is fun. You're too tired to craft at the moment. You're spending too many hours covering teachers or having time out of class. Yeah, busy time for lots of people this time of year, isn't it? Right. For some reason, that's not wanting to blend quite the same as the greens did. I don't know why, but there you go. This is why we experiment, because it helps us to learn. Your longest non-finished cross stitch is over 30 years old. Children got in the way. My sister-in-law started one, a cross stitch, when my husband and I got engaged, which is probably 26, 27 years ago now, and she's still not finished it. I laugh at every holiday, every family holiday, she brings it out and does a little bit more. Right, I am going to now do some really, really light scribbles in the shadow areas. So where there would be a little bit of shadow, we are just going to put this down really, really lightly, and it's not showing up on camera. I'm so sorry. Right. And then we will should we give it some give her some rosy cheeks. And then we can have slightly more rosy cheeks, over more rosy cheeks over here. So this I'm just going really, really lightly, because this is where we are going to play with the resist idea. So I'm just wanting to get a little bit of shadowing in some of those areas that would have shadows, so like around the scarf, underneath the hat. And then because snow is reflective, or white is reflective, we would see different colours. So if we just twizzle it, you can just see a little bit of the blue there. I'm going to try and bring in just a little bit of pink in those areas as well. Oops, not a lot. Just a little bit here and there. Okay. Because as I said, it would be reflective. So this is wax, and we are now going to go over this with some watercolours. So I have pulled out these ones here. They're twinkling H2Os, so they are a iridescent watercolour. So they look quite pale. I'm just going to click on something because, oh, sorry. Something weird. There you go. I couldn't see something. There's something weird happening. Right. So these are iridescent. So they're not overly obvious, but we will get a nice sheen to them. And they should resist the crayon elements that we've put down. I've just realised that they need little coloured paddy paws, don't they? So we'll just put that, or toe beans as my daughter calls them. Toe beans. I need a bit of colour in there as well. Okay. Right. Oh, you're recovering from COVID. Oh, you finished it. COVID. You have a cross stitch you started 10 years ago. You keep telling, yeah. I think we're all the same. We've all got very unfinished projects. I've just been filming some video content for Black Friday, and I finally finished a project that I started when I was in the other studio. So a good few years ago I started it. Finally finished it. Right, so I'm just going to activate these paints. Putting water all over my desk, really clever, never mind. And I am just going to, let's see, we'll start with this one. And it should resist the wax. So I'm going to use all three colours because, as I said, snow is reflected. I just wish, let me see, can I take the cut bright? I don't know if taking the brightness down a little bit will help you to see the iridescence. Hi Tracy, how are you? So this is a digital stamp. This is this month's freebie. We were having a discussion in the DT group as to watercolour and digi stamp. So I have on this occasion just printed this as normal onto mixed media card, and I'm not sure how well it will hold out to the water. We may get a little bit of bleeding, but the bleeding will be in the shadow areas, so I am going to brace it. So a couple of things that you can do is print your image off to on draft, and it will make the line work grayer, so you're it's less likely to bleed. So that you can do that. You can sort of, as soon as it comes off the printer, throw embossing powder over it. You'll not get a perfect emboss, but you will sort of seal what is there. I don't tend to find, so I didn't actually leave this 24 hours. I printed this off at lunchtime, so it's maybe been about 6 hours, and I have heat set it. So I'm not actually getting much of a bleed. I don't know if that is picking up on the camera. I'm getting a little bit of bleed around his nose there. But as I said, I'm just going to pull it in and make it look like part of the shadow. I'm not going to stress about it too much. Unfortunately, the gorgeous iridescence of that is not showing up. So I'll have to try and take some fancy photos at a later point. Now let's increase the light again because we'll need it for the next. How many hours a day do I spend at my studio? It kind of depends what I'm doing. If I'm working on new releases or filming, I would spend a good work day down here, which for me is probably between 9:30 and 3 o'clock, just because it's within school hours. Although I do come down here in the evenings and stuff as well. Okay, so I'm just going to fiddle with camera angles for a second. I just want to see if there's any angle that's going to show the iridescence of that. So it has resisted the wax. I could maybe do a scribble with coloured, what do you call it? Just as an experiment, show you what it would look like if we just sort of scribbled on a bit of paper and then used normal watercolour. It might actually show better. Okay, so we're beginning to see little bits of resist anyway as it's dried. We're going to encourage that. I am just going to dry this gesso off a little bit. So sorry, we are back to just drying paint again. Watching paint dry. So I say, yeah, thank you Sharon. Yeah, mine's just a normal inkjet printer. So far that I've had there's a tiny bit of bleeding on his nose. But as I said, to prevent that I would probably go on draft mode, but we can see he's gonna sit there in a minute once we've dried this off and sorted out our resist. So normally doing a resist technique, I would probably do quite a few more layers. I think in the first one that I showed you, we started off with a book page, and then I did 3 or 4 layers of various paint, but I already had paint down on this because it was a mop-up page. But it also shows you, like, I'd never waste my paint. It always kind of goes on some form of mop-up page. But even if you don't like the paintwork that's down, you can sort of still pick out bits that you like and create a page. You can knock it back completely, and you're still not sort of wasting stuff. You've been doing refresher classes from Kit and Clowder. The Kit and Clowder classes are fantastic. Right, I'm going to use a wipe because I find it easier. I do normally use a damp cloth, but it's a little bit quicker with a wipe. These are biodegradable ones. So. Right, I am just going to start to go across. Now I've realised I probably should have actually gone dark if it was going to be Northern Lights, shouldn't I? So what we could do is, once we've got this sorted, we could actually maybe do a dark blue and do a resist again. Oops, sorry, my desk is, because I'm having to push quite hard and the desk is shaking. So you can see I obviously put plenty of Vaseline on that part. I think I've covered up more than I'd intended, so I obviously hadn't put quite enough down, but we've got a little bit. So do you reckon we should make the sky dark blue? Should we, hello Maxine, should we go for a darker blue? Sorry if this is shaking. I know I definitely didn't have too much on this side. What do we reckon? Yeah, let's go dark. Okay, so we will do our resist again. So I think I've taken away a bit too much, to be honest. I was expecting to have revealed a little bit more, so that's fine. What I will do now is I will protect this bit, we'll get some more of that blue on, and then we'll go dark. So we'll do another 2 layers to get it to where we want to go. So that's the thing, if you find that you've done that and gone, oh no, I've covered up too much, which is kind of how I feel right now, that I've just covered up a little bit too much, then you just work on building it up, so it's all good. Right, I'm just going to give that a quick waft. Sorry, it does mean that we are going to be going with the heat gun quite a bit. Right, so let's be a little bit more heavy-handed with this. It's been a while since I've done this technique, so I obviously need to put, so I definitely want to protect these bits that have managed to resist. So we're going to, oops, probably put that a bit too far. I'm going to save some of that white now. Right, so I want to protect all these bits that we have already got a good resist. To be honest, we'll end up with a better effect by doing a few more layers anyway. So we will just get that over these bits. So anything you want to keep, you need to cover with the petroleum jelly. Okay, so we need to cover these bits. Now I don't want too much white, so I've basically just kind of gone over the bits that I've done, but I am just going to put a few more bits down because it is, you know, somewhere cold, so there would be snow and white. Okay, and then let's just grab some of this paint here. It's one way to get it on. Not faffing about with the paint palettes. Right, so I'm just gonna get some of that over, and then I am going to get a darker blue after this, so I will have to hunt for, I didn't plan on doing that, so I will have to go and look for some paint. But that's okay, because I very rarely know what's going to happen with a creative project. We just need to start and keep going, see what occurs. Okay, Sorry, I seem to be losing the ability to talk and to craft at the same time. Happens quite a lot. Right. I've not let it dry too much this time either. I think now it's maybe coming off a bit too easy. So it does end up giving you a really sort of just distressed, peeled paint sort of feel. Where's my cloth gone that I normally use? Sorry, I'm very aware that my table is shaking so much. Right, okay, give that a little waft. To be honest, if I was doing this not live, I would be letting it dry more naturally in between. It will come off easier if you are doing that. Right now, I need to rummage through this lot to find a darker paint. Oh, Payne's Grey. That'll be quite good, but it's quite dark. Oh, that's all the cheap of it. I'm just trying to see if I've got something else that's darker. I did have an indigo blue one that was called Midnight, but I'm not sure if I've used all of that up or not. Sorry guys. There we go. Stroke Midnight, that's the one I was looking for. Hello Dawn, how are you? Ugh. Right. If anyone's tuned in like Dawn, they'd be like, what on earth is she doing? Making a mess. That's what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing so. Right, so again, I want to keep the interesting bits, so it's going to go back down on to there, and then we'll cover that bit because it's quite nice. I wasn't overly keen on these pink bits anyway. And we'll put some down here. And then let's keep some of these nice dark blue bits, the bits that have stayed nice and bright and vibrant. And then we will see how we get on with that. You're intrigued because you missed the start. Sorry, Kate. Basically, I started up with a mop-up page, so I've got quite a few mop-up pages. It was much sort of bluier colours, and we are attempting to make the Northern Lights and an icy background for our gorgeous little bears to sit on. So the bears have had a resist technique because we have used crayons to colour, and then we've used sort of pearlescent paint to paint over it. So we've used one sort of resist technique there. But actually, see, when you put them in situ there, the background suddenly looks nice and icy and gorgeous, doesn't it? And now we're attempting to sort of create almost like the Northern Lights. So I'm going to put some dark on here. And then we will see how it's looking once we've done the dark. Ooh, that's scary. Great technique. It is. It's a while since I'm trying really hard to push myself creatively, but also just to try and make these lives worthwhile. Trying to make sure that I'm not doing samey stuff every week, that we're maybe sort of trying something a bit different. So it'd be awesome if in the group or wherever you like to share your crafty makes. If you were to able to, you know, if you want to try some resist techniques and see how you got on, there's loads available. But I thought it was interesting to do these because we are playing with Vaseline and children's crayons. So I think it also shows you that you do not need all the fancy smancy potions that are out there. Yes, it's great to have them, and as you can see from that tab, I have plenty of potions. I do like them. But you don't need them. You can absolutely create with what you've got. And if what you've got is children's products or cheap and cheerful products from budget places, you can still create beautiful art with them, which is why I want to try and colour properly with crayons. But I think that's going to require a bit more practice before we do a video on that. But I am working on it. So yeah, this is one of these journals that has been, I seem to spend more time just mopping up painting and not actually crafting in. Does anyone else have that? Does anyone else have, you can see a run on crayons and Vaseline? Yeah. It was a bit like when, was it Sheena Douglas once did the faux leather technique with glycerin, and it's like there was loads of UK chemists that ran out of glycerin after that week. Yeah, so my products that are non-craft products that I couldn't live without are glycerin. I don't actually use it for what Sheila Douglas did, but I do use it a lot for, does anyone have the whole Frantage things? I've got loads of them. I bought them when they were all the rage. And I just find using the VersaFine stuff really difficult. But if they don't have something to stick to, they blow all over the place, which is a real pain. So I tend to use glycerin a lot for those. Also, if you mix glycerin with your mica powders, you can almost stamp with it. You almost create like a bit of an ink pad. So I use that a lot. Vaseline, it's another product that's a non-craft product that you can use well. What else do I use? Isopropyl or hand sanitizer for cleaning your pens. And I do a lot of effects using isopropyl and alcohol. So basically, instead of buying the expensive blending solution, you can create very similar things with your isopropyl and cardboard. Except I'm not talking to Dawn about cardboard. Cardboard is another staple that we use, and it's lovely for mixed media projects. And one of the best ways to use it is to expose the texture. Isn't that right, Dawn? Dawn likes to make projects with cardboard and snot green paint. It's been a while since you've been in, Dawn, so you know I have to take the mic. We've actually spent ages on the phone together today, chatting away. We do love each other dearly, but we also feel the need to have to wind each other up quite a lot. Right, so as you can see, I have made a gorgeous mess. So now we're going to take some of this away, and we should... Oh, whoever agreed and said we should go dark, right, good call. That's looking far more like Northern Lights now, isn't it? Right. Ooh. Me likey. Once we've got some white splatters on this for stars, we're going to be all good. And it looks so different from how it started as well. As I said, I am using a baby wipe. If I wasn't live, I would be spritzing this with water and using this, but it's just, it does take a little bit longer to do it that way. But these are biodegradable wipes. I do feel quite strongly about trying to, you know, not shove plastic in our oceans. So I wouldn't deliberately be using stuff that's going to do that. Oh. Look at me. Covered. I put a picture up on my Instagram. I don't know if anyone saw it. Of a picture of me crafting when I was about 4 or 5 and my hands were covered. And a picture of me now. It's like, yeah, 40 years later and stuff still hasn't changed. I still make a big mess. Oh, I like this. I'm not going to work too hard at the edges because it saves me going to having to darken them later. So I do apologise if the screen's really, really shaky because yeah. I could have done with, oh, see now if I buff that, I was just going to say I could do with some of the other colours showing up a bit better, but we're getting them. You do tend to have to be patient with this technique. As I say, I would normally sort of let it dry a bit more naturally. I would work very slowly with my cloth like this, but it has just sped up the process doing it with a wipe. I'll take this here. I'm tearing bits of paper there. Whatever that was is now creating texture. This is the great thing about working with mop-up pages. You've no idea what was on it when you started. It's like, oh, isn't me? Who knows what'll happen? Right. I like, apart from these bits that are getting torn up, so we'll just maybe leave that as is. That's cool. I like it. Yeah, it looks random like that, but as soon as we put that down, it's fab. Right, I'm just going to waft this a little bit, and then we need lots and lots and lots and lots of white splashes. Now my nice white ink that I normally like to use has gone all cloggy, so what will I use? What will I use? Just wondering if any of these. No, I'll just stick with it and hope for the best. I need to get a new one of these. It's my favourite thing for splashes, but it has got quite cloggy. So I'm going to do some splashes. We need to sort out the horizon line a little bit. Yeah, you can create, so we've gone very dramatic like that, but the one that I showed you when we started, the last time we did this in a live, it's really subtle and delicate, so you can create a lovely soft, subtle look as well. And the best thing is just to play and see what occurs. Oh look, a match. That wasn't planned. Happy coincidence. Yes, this has got very, do you know what, I'm just going to stick some, it's on its way out anyway. If I ruin it, I ruin it. Right. See how we get on. So we need loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of splashes. They're not showing. I need bigger splashes. Oh, I'm covering everything in white paint. Got all this amazing equipment, you know, like ring lights. I've got a fancy microphone just there, and I'm just literally covering it in paint. I might actually draw some white spots and turn some of these into stars as well. So that some of the original stuff that the page started with is still there, but we've completely changed the look of it, which shows if you've got a mop-up page that you really don't like the look of, you can't alter it. Like I've got one here. Where is it? There. Don't like the look of that, but you know, we can quite easily cover up and do something. I'm just going to turn this round so that I can get the top. And also I like to cheat. Doesn't matter that we've got big splodges because it's snow. Just means it's a blizzard. Right, and I like to splatter in different directions. Might sound daft, but you tend to find that it kind of always follows the same line and it looks too almost either contrived or that you know, a gust of wind suddenly caught you while you were painting. Whereas if I find that if I switch it around, it looks a little bit better. Right, there we go. Now I'm just gonna, it's funny, look, it's resisting with it. I'm just gonna cover some of this, probably best with my gesso. Singing now. It's not good. She's resorted to singing. Right, are we on? Just thinking. There we go. Bit more of a mess, but you can actually see the full page. Right, so I'm going to get some gesso. I might actually get some souffle out as well. So we've had the resist technique here, but look, we don't have a plain white line. We've got different shades and tones of the background coming through. We've got some of that brighter blue there. It's kind of merging with the paint there. And that's the thing, your gesso is semi-transparent. And the best thing about gesso is that it's semi-transparent. And the worst thing about gesso is that it's semi-transparent. But with things like this, where it's keeping the integrity of the layers behind it, it does mean that we can get this gorgeous multi-tonal look, because snow is not white. It's never going to look white, completely white. So I'm just wanting to make it a bit more shape, a bit more interesting. We could actually have it coming up quite high on that side of the page, couldn't we? There we go. Make it a bit more interesting. And then we'll have a bit more around here because we've got the wee bears to sit there. So it's like I'm not having to actually put any work into thinking about my shadowing and my shading. I probably will add a little bit of light shading underneath the bears, so it looks like we have, you know, I think you should shadow everything. It grounds it all. I probably should have thought about a sentiment, but I'm not sure what I've got. I've got some lovely snowy sentiments, but they're on digital collections. And me heating this with a heat gun, when you heat paint or gesso or anything like that with a heat gun, it is going to bubble slightly. Sometimes it's okay, and I think on a snowy mountainy thing, that's okay. It works fine for me. But if you want it more smooth, you just need to let it dry naturally. It's going to take a while for all of this splatterage to dry fully. Okay, and if you've not got this image, this is this month's free digi. So I will link to it when I edit. If you're on YouTube, when I edit this video, I will go and add the link to the description box. So you just maybe need to wait a little while, well, half an hour or so after I've actually finished for that. Oh, how good does that look? Delighted. And if you're in Facebook, you will find it in the group somewhere. So this is this month's free digi. So today we have played with free digi, children's crayons and Vaseline, and the techniques that we've done here could be done with any paints. So really inexpensive and fun page. I'm going to stick that down there. Look at my hands, what a disgrace. Thank you, Dawn. Right, pop that down there. I am just going to, where did my, oh, get my wet palette out. I love this thing. This is honestly the best money I've spent all year. It's just a simple thing. But I started, well, if you watch this week's Dawn and Julia Crate, it took me, I started painting with these 3 weeks ago. It's acrylic paint. And it's still all moist and stuff like that. It's great. Love it. But anyway, I've got a little bit of leftover blue paint in here. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this. Look at that. That paint is like 3 weeks old and it's acrylic. Brilliant. Love it. Right. And I'm just going to create a little bit of a shadow area under our little bears. Oh, I'm glad you've learnt a lot, Christine. And love the change in techniques. Thank you, Rianne. If there's... hiccuping away here. If there's anything in particular you would like to see me demonstrate or experiment. I mean, I have completely experimented with you. I didn't know if I could colour with crayons or not. I have done a resist technique before, but I feel like his nose needs painted. There we go. And should we... I'm thinking we need sparkles. Let's get some souffle. Now, the trouble is, my souffle sheet is just here. So I'm thinking possibly diamond and aquamarine. Let's go get some of that. We'll pop a bit of sparkle in. I'm going to add a sentiment, but I want to print one off, I think. Because of the size of the page, I think it needs a bigger sentiment. And I have sentiments in some of my winter digital kits, which I didn't think to print out, so I will do that. What did I say? Diamond and aquamarine. There's diamond. Aquamarine's a blue one. There we go. Get there eventually. Right. Thank you, Maxine. Right, so I'm just going to take a little bit, and then we need to draw some stars as well. We need a couple of like very definite stars. We've got lots of splatters, but I feel like let's just get a little bit of sparklage in here. That's a relative of doodleage. Sorry, I am insane. Right. Just popping that across some of here. You had to bend your aquamarine. Oh no. I'm doing okay with mine so far. They're all sort of lasting. I mean, I am sad because unfortunately I bought these from a company that no longer trades. They closed down, unfortunately. And it is one of my favourite products, and I'm absolutely gutted because there's a few of them that are just getting very low. But I also know there's no point saving them because you only waste them. So I may as well enjoy them because I'm not going to be able to get them again, if that makes sense. So we have a little bit of sparkle. Let's just draw in some stars. I don't know if you saw my Dawn and Julia Create. It is here on YouTube, but I managed to... Actually, I might have my project just here somewhere. So see all of that white pen? That has gone over sparkle medium, foiling, gel medium, paints, all with that pen. Couldn't believe it. I've just thrown stuff over my... Right. I don't know whether doing this with my pen is a good idea or whether I should attempt to use a brush. I'm going to take some of these big blobs, make them bigger, and then just... We need to make some stars. Yeah, that looks better. It's struggling a little bit at the moment, I'm not going to lie, but the reason for that is because the paint is still wet. It is Uniball Signal. I can link to it later as well. I've got a link to it in the Dawn and Julia Create because I was just so impressed. But it's not working now, but you do tend to find with most of your white pens or anything like that, you are best to use them when the project is completely dry, and this is obviously still very wet, so I'm actually just going to paint them in. Not the best painting, but hey ho, it is what it is. Right, put 3 big stars in, but doesn't it makes a difference just having a star. It kind of brings it all together. It just needs some what do you call it, what did I say, sentiment. It needs a sentiment, but we can add that later. Okay, and then we'll maybe put another star over here. And then I think for tonight, we might call that done. There we go. You're welcome, Sharon. Right, I have stuff everywhere. There we go. So that is our Northern Lightish or Icelandish something-ish page. Yeah, just using some very basic techniques and products. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now let me see, we'll fiddle with the lighting. I have to fiddle with it because quite frankly, the big bright light on my face is really not attractive. I don't like to put that on anybody. So thank you ever so much for joining me. If you don't have your image yet, feel free to download it. And I would love to see what you create. I would also really love to see what you do with any resist techniques. Please do share with us in the group. We have loads of inspiration there every day. And yeah, it's all about you guys. I can't wait to see what you do. And I will see you all again this time next week. So take care. Once I found my mouse, here it is. Found my mouse. Ooh, that was attractive. In amongst all of this craft stuff, I will sign off and say goodbye. But take care and we will see you soon.